I'm not a coffee drinker, but I've come up with a revolutionary solution for all my fellow Americans struggling with Spain's coffee shops not opening before 9 a.m. Now, hear me out. This might sound insane at first. Make your own damn coffee.
Yeah, because there are two types of coffees, the necessity coffee and the social coffee. So anything before 9 a.m. is not considered social coffee. Therefore, you make your own damn coffee at home. Necessity one. The ones that you go outside, go to a cafe, sit down, that's a social coffee. That cannot happen before 9 o'clock in the morning.
You've lived in New York. We've lived in New York. You are on the go. So I can understand why it's a problem.
Right. You're in New York. Here's Spain. New York, Spain. New York has a hustle culture. The whole United States is based on a hustle culture. Go fast, work hard, don't sleep, don't. We're totally the opposite. So if you come to Spain, you need to get into the Spain mindful mindset, mind everything, mind your damn business, and do things how we do it here. No, and that thing of going to a place to get coffee to go, I mean, I get that a lot of people come here for only 3 days and they pack like 20,000 million activities in those 3 days. But the idea of coming to a place like Spain or France or Italy is that you actually sit down in our cafes, you know, people watch, you gossip, you imagine the lives of others just like we do. You enjoy your coffee sitting down in a place. You need at least half an hour to 45 minutes to enjoy your coffee sitting down in the place.
So let me get this straight. What time do Spaniards go to work?
Things don't open usually before 9 o'clock, okay? Like a supermarket, the earliest supermarket is at 9:15.
But even so, don't you have to be to work it before 9?
Yes, I love that you bring that to everybody's attention. So I won't say what kind of businesses, bank, public institutions, government offices, and so on. I can tell you based on experience, not because I have worked in those places, but I have friends and I have seen, and everybody that lives in this country have seen that you go to an official government office and you see them coming to work at 9 o'clock, because that's usually the time that we start work. They do a couple of things. They say hello. They probably check emails. And like by 9:30, 10-ish, people start taking turns to go outside for breakfast.
At that early? After you
Yeah.
clocking?
Yeah. That's why I started saying there are two types of coffee. Your necessity coffee is when you wake up, you put the machine, you go brush your teeth, get settled a little bit, then go and start enjoying your coffee while you get ready. The rest of the coffees throughout the day, the ones that you get outside, they're social coffees. Therefore, they don't happen before 9 a.m.
No. But you don't
You
wake
don't
up.
even drink coffee.
That's true. This is a Colacao.
Brought to you by Colacao. No, it's not a sponsor.
Even if you have your necessity coffee at home, that's if you wake up in time to go to work. Like usually you wake up with enough time to just clean. Like we don't have breakfast in the morning, like at home. We have breakfast on the go.
Yeah, we have breakfast after we clock in and, half an hour later or
No, we can't do
45
that.
minutes later.
We don't. We get our first 15 minutes. If we get a 15-minute break, if it's one.
No, this is not official. This is something everybody does.
Oh, you just do it.
Yes, you just do it. Everybody does it.
What is that phrase you guys say? The roads haven't been put yet.
I love that you're learning so fast. Yeah, anything that happens before 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, we have a saying that says, where are you going at that time? The roads aren't even on.
How do you say it in Spanish?
Todavía no han puesto las calles. Todavía no han puesto las calles.
No han puesto las calles?
Sí. Like nobody has put the roads yet.
Nobody has put the roads yet.
Yeah. Or if somebody tells you, oh, I have to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, which is some people, we have turns. And then we said, oh my God, you're waking up with the ones that put the roads.
Do y'all hear yourselves when y'all talk?
Another point with coffee that I eat like every time that I hear somebody from North America, United States more precisely, they say is that we don't have iced coffee. We do have iced coffee. We just don't have a venti thing with tons of ice and dirty water on it, because that's not coffee, that's dirty water. So I'm gonna show you. I have my props here. Excuse me.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I have my props. So When you go to a bar and you ask for a coffee, you're probably a coffee ice with coffee with ice, café con hielo. Coffee with ice is how we call it. They're gonna bring you your coffee on a regular cup, not this big because we have this at home, but like a regular cup, and then they're gonna bring you a glass. And in the glass, you're gonna have two pieces of ice, just two, maybe three, no more, and they're thick. And so what do? You put your sugar if you wanna put your sugar. If you ask for milk, then you put milk, and then you grab your cup and put it in the glass. That's your iced coffee.
I am not a
We have iced coffee.
That is, I don't think that's iced coffee.
That is iced coffee.
That doesn't sound right to me. And I'm not a coffee drinker, but that doesn't seem right because then what's the purpose of the coffee?
You have café con hielo, no hielo con café. Because you guys use like these huge mugs or like plastic containers. And you put thousands of ice. Thousands. Like they have to have a fridge just for ice cubes.
But I think there's also other issues that we have with Spain, though. Like, we think Spain can be very rude, like restaurants and.
So we're keeping in the line of.
I might as well just tack on the things that that we struggle with in Spain.
Okay, there is something I'm very proud about this, and we're very direct people. We are not great at telling stories because we have to give 3,000 million details and everything, but we're quite direct. And that means that even waitress and waiters and people who are at your service, right? They're just gonna do their job. And their job is to take note of your order. And their job is to tell you what they have in the menu and to bring you the food and then bring you the check. But they're not mind readers. They're not astrological gurus that they know exactly when you want things. So because we take our time, we allow guests to decide when they're needed. Therefore, you call them. No, they're not gonna come to your door. No, they're not, I mean to your door, to your table. No, they're not gonna come and ask you, how are you? How are you? How are you? How are you? No. When you need them, you call them. Perdona, cuando puedas. And they come.
So there's no catering to the customer?
Yeah, if you start talking to them about something. I mean, you've seen like when we go out.
I agree. I don't find the waiters to be rude. What I will say is that I have found waiters or waitresses that you can tell is having a bad day or that's upset with something, or you can tell that. But it's just a face. It's not necessarily like directed towards you. They're still going about their business, trying to get the day done. It's not you. I mean, excuse me. I was not, that. But I think at the end of the day, I don't find it to be rude. I do appreciate not having someone constantly come up to me like, "Hey, how's everything going?" While I'm chewing on steak, and I'm like, "Oh, so good." As Americans, we are used to that, and and maybe not subconscious or just our mentality overall is that we know that this is a behavior because we have a big tipping, kind of society.
Maybe you should consider giving a fair, decent great pay rate to the person that is serving.
But I agree.
Instead of letting the owner of the restaurant or the chain getting rich at the work of others. Like tips are nice. Don't get me wrong. I was the waiter for a split second a couple of times, and yeah, it feels good. But if you have a guaranteed salary, yes, it can cost that maybe you're not super extra nice and you don't work super hard because you know that you're gonna get paid the same thing. But at the same time, you know that it's guaranteed. Like it doesn't matter if it rains. It doesn't matter if I had a bad customer that didn't pay me, that didn't give me a good tip or anything. No, I know that as long as I bring you the food and as long as I'm cordial, I'm gonna get paid and I'm not gonna get fired.
Yes, that's true. You guys have the permanent contracts and so on, but I think again, when you come out here, it's just that I'm used to this kind of service because that's the familiarity with customer service. Is that okay? This person is concerned. We want to make sure I have a great experience. We don't eat to enjoy. We eat to just get sustain ourselves and then continue on with our day.
Yeah, but then what's the meaning of life if you're not enjoying simple things like a nice meal? But anyway, that brings me to, if you're really struggling with somebody that guides you and everything, you have two friends right here. We have a bunch of guides and things about, how to navigate life in Spain and how to come here even for a couple of days and get the best out of it, just like a local. So check those links down below. And and that brings me to something that you have mentioned, even from the first times that you came to Spain. You get really upset because we don't tip.
Oh, that bothers me so much. And it's because I gotta look at the camera. It's because I know how customer service is in the US. I know how bad the experiences are that I have. And I know people may believe that the waitresses and waiters here can be rude at times, but that hasn't been my experience. My experience has been very positive overall. Like I said, I've seen maybe a couple of guys or women like look like they're having a bad day, but they'll still come and make sure that you're okay. But in the US, I've had bad service. And then I still got to pay this 17% tip. Whereas when I get good service, and then you tell me I'm only going to give like €1, this person done sat here.
€1. Allah, €1. What are you paying? €100 to pay a €1 tip? Crazy?
€1 is good. That's bad. What am I saying? What do you
Perfect
mean?
example. It was the year 2017, I believe. We first came together to Spain and we did a road trip all the way to Asturias. And we were with my best friend and, her
Her kid
husband
and a
and
baby.
my other best friend, Soraya. And we were driving up to the north, so we stopped and had lunch. But the waiters were like really nice. They started asking about one of the the kid that we had with us. And
Don't
then we
say
talk
no, they
about
weren't really nice. We told our life stories to each other. We shared moments, personal stories with each other. That's not nice. That at that point, that's family.
Anywho, after 3 hours of being there and he like being all puzzled, like why are we staying more time here than on the road? We asked for the check. I believe it was 56 something, and it was five of us, five adults.
5 adults, 1 baby.
One baby. And by the end, we had, I don't know, it was like 60 something cents of euro or something like that. So we left it and he turned back and he was like, the tip.
No, you're not doing this. Nah, y'all gonna put some money down for this waitress. Like she was really nice, and we had this whole moment. The bill was only 50 something euros for 6 people.
She brought shots at the
And she
end,
brought shots at the end.
which is a custom in some restaurants
But
here
the
in Spain.
food was delicious. The service was amazing. Then I'm watching all of you like 60 cents. 60 cents? What do you mean? Like, nah, you better put at least €5 on that thing.
€5.
5 or €10. I mean, come on. That's almost 10%. That's just 10%. It's not 17 or 25
She
what it
gets
is
her
now.
regular paid. She'll be fine.
Yeah, I know she'll be fine, but it's appreciated.
Yeah, so
Listen,
we left 60 cents. We left money for her own coffee.
A coffee.
That was what cost a coffee
Listen,
back then.
if I had to pay all this money for bad service, I should be able to pay for good service. Service that
Or you can say gracias, que tengas buen día. Whenever I talk to people, I recommend them to come here because the more business they have, the better for everybody.
Oracle €5.
Pay forward.
Oracle €5.
It's not everything about money here,
No, it's not about money, but it's that moment that was important, and all I can do is, here you go, thank you. You've done an amazing job. It was very nice sitting down here, eating delicious food, and having a conversation with someone now that is pretty much family.
In order for you to know that the conversation went as well to believe that they could be considered family members, it is important that you learn the language. Yes, I get it. You come for a week, 2 weeks. You're not going to bother to learn the language. But if you're planning to really move here to spend at least 6 months, is the minimum that you could do is respect towards the citizens of this country. And the most important thing is that you actually get to enjoy what truly means to be in Spain. I know I'm a very proud Spaniard. I'm freaking in love with my country. But I'm so proud of being Spanish because of how we are. And it's so sad that so many of you come here and you don't even get a glimpse of who we are. You just, celebrate that beer is €1 and wine is cheaper than water and things like that. But we're so much more than that. And it's just that
Is this
you
your way
made
of
that.
complaining about Americans saying why they don't speak English here?
Yeah. we never been a British colony. We never had to learn languages. Now our new generations are learning languages in school, mostly English. But I'm in my 40s. Believe me when I tell you, languages wasn't a thing when I was going to school. And if it was just about you passing a test. It wasn't about you speaking. So, no, we're not going to speak another language. Yes, we're one of the highest tourism points in the world, but yeah, no. There's more people that speak Spanish in the world. So,
Have to agree with you on this one. As much as it's going to pay me to go against my fellow Americans, yeah, if you come into another country, like you can't sit there and say, oh, when you come to the US, you should learn to speak English. And then when I go to your country, you should learn to speak it. It doesn't work like that. No. At the end of the day, if you come into another country, same way when we traveled, when we went to Turkey, we learned some Turkish. When we went to Serbia, we learned some Serbian. I'm in Spain, I'm learning some Spanish. And I think that's the key to actually getting the full experience of it. You chose to come to this country for your vacation, so you should be doing your research like, okay, I need to just know a couple of phrases or things to get by just in case I'm in a bad situation or I get lost and I can communicate. If my phone dies, what am I going to do without my Google Translate, you know?
yeah.
But so I agree with you.
Or at least don't get upset because we don't speak English. I lived in the US for 15 years, right? And up until this moment, my husband, the same one that is right here sitting right next to me, makes fun of my English and my accent.
That's
And
my job.
that's
That's my job. That's part of being a husband.
no, it's not. And that's just how society is in United States overall. I'm generalizing, of course. There is people that are very kind and help you and whatever. But for the most part, when I first started, learning the language, living in the US, it was really traumatizing to even just go to the grocery store and try to ask for something. Like I would never go to the place where they cut the meats and everything because I'd be like, oh no, they're gonna criticize. I don't know how to say kilos in pounds and things like that. It's nothing like that here in Spain. As a matter of fact, whenever he tries to say something, even if he says it's wrong, either people like try to answer him in whatever English they know, or they're like smile and they're so appreciative of whatever Spanish that he knows. And I think that helps a lot when somebody's learning Spanish. And I might argue that that's one of the reasons why learning Spanish is much easier than learning English. Not because of the language difficulty level, but because of the support system that you have surrounding you.
I think if you just go to school, you'll be fine. That's my English response to you.
I
My
went to school in
American.
English and still have an accent.
I understand and I agree. And I don't know if this is just an American thing, but you would have to tell me this in Spanish if this is the case. I can only say this for English speakers and specifically Americans. Whenever we are talking to someone that is trying to speak English, when they start speaking English and it's very broken, we don't speak our normal English. We start speaking broken English to them to try to
Like you're
match
making
them.
fun of them.
Yeah, that it's not. It's not.
But it comes across like you're making fun of the person. Like, I know you don't speak good English. Why are you speaking broken English like me?
I don't know what it is. I've caught myself doing it numerous times, and I know it's not to be condescending. I know it's not to be anything, but I feel like, okay, if that's how you speak English, then let me try to speak it like you to understand, as opposed to me speaking normal. Because I feel like when I'm speaking normally, I speak very fast. And I've been told that I speak fast, also that I mumble.
You do
So
mum.
so when someone is speaking English and they're like how I go here, then I would probably, instead of responding, oh well, just take this train and go this way and you'll be just fine. I'm not going to respond like that. I'm going to say,
No, but
well,
you can say just go straight.
I
Take the bus, blah,
I
blah, blah. Instead
I,
of straight, you walk. Bus. Corner. No need for any of that.
but
And there's
but it's simpler for someone to understand. If you're
is it though?
I don't
Is
know,
it?
but I think it is. I think that it helps. I don't know why, and I hate that that happens. I've caught myself, and now I'm very conscious of it. Whenever someone is speaking to me with broken English, then I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. And in fact, I just now speak slower instead of matching their broken English. But is that something that you ever noticed that Spanish people do? Like, if when you heard me
We
talking,
speak louder for some reason. Why are you looking at me like that? Like,
because you speak loud naturally. So
Yeah, we're very loud. No, but when we're speaking with somebody from outside, we think that because we speak louder,
that's
they're going to
also
understand.
that's also very American to do.
Yeah, yeah, but I like to remember like the first times that you came here because right now I'm not gonna say that you're just one more, but you have experienced so much that I think that you tend to like forget certain things. But when we first came, that we went to Asturias and you were flying the drone, there was an old man that approached you and you had zero idea about Spanish back then.
I had like the very basics of hola, cómo estás, y tú estás bien, sí, pero I'm about to start speaking
Pero
Spanish. But no, it was just for me then. Like I was trying my best to understand. He was not slowing down in how he speak.
he was an old
He was an
man from
older
the
gentleman,
north.
very nice, and to be fair, he did try to give me certain words of trying to call out the drone and say what it is and everything. So I was doing my best to explain, yes, drone, fly, go far, record, video, look. That's all I could do. But I'm saying it in Spanish, but those are only the words I
But how
knew.
was your interaction with him?
The interaction was great. Like we were laughing, we was looking at the video and just talking about stuff. He pointed to his house and he's like, "Oh, that's cool. Can you get a shot of my house?" I was like, "Sure."
Sure.
That's the thing. Like I always feel like when we have that kind of conversation with
We have a cat dog.
cat dog. So yeah, whenever I've come across those, I notice those things from Americans that's something that we do. Whether I can't say it's intentional, but I would say that there's some Americans that do it intentionally just to be condescending and to be that
Yeah,
way. But
it's not cool. I can tell you stories.
as an American, I think throughout all the stuff that we get, whether it's the language or the coffee, the stores closing, the restaurants. Now that you talk about the history of me coming here my first time, 1 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, let's get some food. I'm starving right now. It's lunchtime for me.
It ain't though. It
But it's
ain't.
lunchtime. No, because I think you guys have the clock a little bit wrong here. I think that's the problem.
Is that what it
That's
is?
the problem. Because you think it's morning until when?
It's morning until you have lunch. So if you have lunch at 3 o'clock, I think my whole face just changed right now. I just felt it like, "Ugh." But yeah, so it's morning until you have lunch. If you don't have lunch until 3 o'clock, 3 p.m., which is the time that we usually have lunch,
No.
it's morning until then. As a matter of fact, you go down the street or you get that phone call with the marketing thingy and they'll say, Buenos dias. And you say, Buenos dias, even if it's 2 p.m.,
No.
because you haven't had lunch. Then you have lunch, and after lunch is afternoon. It's after lunch, afternoon.
What time is noon? It's at 12, right?
Okay, we don't work like that. It's afternoon until you have dinner. So if your dinner is not until 10 p.m., it's afternoon, 9 p.m. You go to the park with the dogs, and people say, Hola, buenas tardes. Listen, the other day was 11 p.m. You were walking down the street and you told somebody buenos dias. But yeah, like getting accustomed to the times here is very important, even if you only come for 3 days. And I
Yeah, but
like
still, you got a
reiterate the
time.
three
You
days.
still got a time when the stores close, so you can get the stuff, so you can get food before they close. Because
Yeah, that's my point. Like, it's very important that you consider that usually stores, not big shopping centers or anything in the city center, because those things are going to be open throughout the entire day. But if you're in the south or you're in a small town or whatever, things are going to close. Regular stores are going to close like around 1:30 or 2 p.m. and they won't reopen until 4:30 or 5 p.m. People might think that that's not quality of life because you're breaking your day, but it's allowing you time to see your kids, to see your family in the middle of the day, your animals, whatever, and then continue with your working schedule. Now, not 100% of the population has that schedule. Some people work a 9 to 5, just like in the US. There is a reason behind we have that schedule, and there's a reason why we have siestas. And I don't understand this level of superiority that some Americans have, that they feel like because they sleep only 4 hours or because they don't take naps, they're better people than we are.
I know, again, this is why Americans struggle with these concepts because it's not something we can even fathom to do.
Is
Like
it really that hard? It was really difficult to transfer my way of
pattern.
living into the US because I'm going from a normal, relaxed routine into a crazy hustle, blah, blah, blah. But how is it difficult to go from bad to good?
You don't look at it as necessarily good because you're not benefiting from it. You just noticing it like, well, that seems wrong. That's not how it's done. I should still look for the negativity, and I think that's kind of what we have been bred in the U.S. to do, is look for the negativity. And
you have to suffer to show that you earn it. That you're
yeah,
worth
yeah, I
it.
think that's another thing too. Like remember, we're the kind of people that pride ourselves on like, oh well, we always gotta do a one up. Oh, you work 50 hours? Well, yeah, I worked 60 hours this week. Oh man, I was killing it though. I worked 60 hours, and then we'd be proud of it.
Meanwhile, the Spaniard will be like, pringao.
What does that even mean?
Like, idiot, dumbass.
See, that's the thing, though. But we feel like that, like we look at that as an accomplishment that we were able to do that. That shows that we're strong, that we can handle anything. We have this mentality that we have to kind of earn all the things that we are supposed to get in, and not have it this easy. Because for me, you guys aren't taking advantage of it. From my perspective as an American, I'm like, yeah, I don't have that hustle nature like we do in the US. Like we hustle for stuff. So if you take how easy things, not necessarily easy, but compared to US, how easy things are, if I put some hustle into that, I could probably bring in a little bit more money then. But you guys are just comfortable the way it is. And for us, that comfortability is not something that we have in the US. So we're not used to it, and how you guys kind of exercise that comfort. So I think that's one of the big reasons why Americans struggle with being in Spain, is that we haven't got to the point where we can exercise that kind of comfortability and be okay with it. And I think that if you are having trouble with this as an American, take it from me, personal experiences here. This is why we created our Spain starter pack, along with a free checklist to get you started if you're looking to move, you're looking to visit, and really want to get into the thick of it and be comfortable and not be lost when you get here. This is a great way to start. So I would say
carry a Maria with you.
Carry a Maria with you? Yeah, I guess so. That's the beauty of it. I have a Maria with me. For those that don't have a Maria with me, that's why you have the Spain starter pack.
All right, and now this is the time for Explain It to Me. Now, for those that complain about why people don't speak English in Spain, well, let me tell you, English is not an official language.
Hey, Trump put it as an official language.
Do you really want to go to the nitty-gritty of that part?
I do not.
Okay.
So.
However, we do have several languages here in Spain, and they're all official. Now, I would recommend you not to call them dialects, or to say it's a derivation or derivate or whatever it's called in English.
Just go ahead.
Okay. English classes here. Of Spanish, because that is
derivative. No, I'm just kidding.
It's actually an insult. Do not say Catalan or Valencian or Mallorquin are the same language, and don't say to them that that's just a abbreviation of Spanish, because they don't complete words or things like that. No, they're official languages. They have their history and they have everything, and they have their dictionaries. They are official, like pa Dios, official.
But it is in Spain, so you think it would be considered all one.
Depending on the region where you're traveling, you'll hear these languages. So in Catalonia, you'll hear Catalan. In Valencia, especially in the smaller towns, and more than ever in the bigger cities, you will hear Valencian. In Mallorca, all the islands, the Balearic Islands, you will hear, Mallorquin. And then you have Galician, which is kind of a mix of Portuguese, Spanish, and something else. And one of the most amazing languages that I have never learned, but is my pending subject, and I will one day, is Basque. Basque is an amazing language that has no way to be tracked. There is a point in history where it stops, and you cannot find out where it came from, but it's not from the Latin. It's not, they say that it's coming from the Vikings, and it's freaking amazing. Nothing like Spanish. Even I don't understand, so don't think that you will understand easily.
That make the language like sexy because it's mysterious?
I don't consider it sexy because it's like really strong. Like,
I need to hear it.
You've
I
seen.
need to hear it. Is that best? It has a lot of. That's a crazy language.
It is crazy.
Okay.
can be interpreted as something else.
I'm sure.